How are y'all doing? Peter McMahon here, European Industrial Chillers. I'm just going to give you a quick vlog in regard to a project that's being installed here right now. Dominic O'Connor installing it, so big thanks to them guys for the order. And Don O'Malley, Liam Kavanagh and his team designed the system, so it's a really good system. Very advanced with regard to the different technologies that have all been integrated. So it's great to work with Liam yet again. He's a great guy with regard to adopting these new technologies. So what have we got here is basically a combination of lots of different technologies. So firstly we have to say it's an NRP, it's the Thermic multifunctional heat pump, so it can do heating only, cooling only or simultaneous heating and cooling, which is really good because obviously the logic there is when you have simultaneous loads we're more than doubling the energy efficiency ratio. On top of that then we have a couple of Thermic NRBH, so they're dedicated heat pumps. So basically when the NRP can't satisfy the heating load, they'll come on and obviously do the bulk of the load as it comes on stream. Then over here we have an NRB chiller, so that's a dedicated cooling only. So obviously the chiller is connected to the cooling circuit, the heat pumps are connected to the heating circuit, and the NRP is connected to both the heating circuit and the cooling circuit. These are all managed by a multi-unit sequence controller. So it's very specific with regard to how it's being programmed. It has to understand the load, so it's monitoring the loads consistently, and whenever there's a situation where we have simultaneous heating and cooling, the NRP takes priority. So it's basically what you might call a cascade system, and then as loads increase for the heating or the cooling, they'll simply come on with the heat pump or the chiller. But we're always going to prioritize maximum T or total efficiency ratio. On top of that then, what we have is a WWB. From a design perspective, you want to keep the heating temperatures obviously as low as possible and the cooling temperatures as high as possible, obviously with consideration for the design criteria. But what we've done here is we have a set point, I think 45-40, and then what we have is the WWBs, which is a water-to-water booster. They're inside. We'll go inside now in a minute and get a visual on that. It's a bit noisy, so there probably won't be any audio, but we'll show you the WWB. And then of course what we have is a number of buffer tanks. The volume, by the way, in multifunctional heat pump systems is very important. Typically double what you'd be used to for a chiller or a heat pump, and that's because there's more modes of operation, more cycling, so the volume typically has to be that bit higher. So we have our buffer tanks. They're manufactured by Fiorini and they're manufactured with baffle plates, which is very important. They're not like just a box standard buffer tank, so we direct the flow to where it needs to go. So the cooling is obviously being directed straight to the outlet from the buffer tank, and it's the same situation with regard to the heating. Then we have a number of clarifiers as well, and they are obviously being fed typically by the WWB. By the way, we can do that in a two-stage process where the clarifier can do the higher temperature and the WWB can do the lower temperature, so there's a two-stage. We cover all that, by the way, in the CPD, the designer training program presentations we give, so if you want to know a little bit more about that, just give us a buzz, and Amber will look after you on that. Just email sales@EICL.ie. So that's it. We'll do a quick visual inside just to show you what we have in there. Okay, so we're in the plant room here now, and we can see we have the two WWBs. So these are basically the water-to-water booster. So these are being fed by the LTHW, your 45-40 degrees C temperature from the heat pumps outside. They're coming into these, they're boosting the temperature up. They can actually go up to about as high as 80 degrees C. They then in turn are feeding the clarifiers. So we have a couple of buffer tanks here from Fiorini. These are manufactured specifically, as I said, with the baffle plates to direct the water. And then if you just follow on down here, we have a couple of clarifiers also from Fiorini. So we go in here, and then the rest down there. These are being managed by the multi-unit sequence controller, which is what we have here. So as I said, that's programmed specifically to optimize the efficiency of the multifunctional heat pump or the chiller or the other heat pumps. So as I said, it's a very, very efficient system, and it's a great solution in relation to all the different combination of products that are all in the one. And like I said, any inquiries or if you want to request the CPD, just give us a buzz, sales@EICL.ie, or my personal email is peter.mcmahon, MCMAHON @EICL.ie.